Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by my good friend Adam Smith here in Wembley. What a fight card we've got to announce today, Adam.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's been rumoured for a long time. I think it's fabulous that Turkey and his team have gone global to America at the beginning of August, and now to our home, our capital, and our iconic stadium here at Wembley for a monster bill. It's a fabulous night of boxing from top to bottom. Any of the almost undercard, you can't really call them undercard fights, but any of the supporting acts, I guess, could top a domestic bill. It's mouth-watering. It's brilliant for those fighters to get the opportunities. It's terrific for all the supporters of boxing to be able to see these dream fights being made. And of course, we've got a British blockbuster at heavyweight on top of the bill as we welcome AJ back to Wembley. Daniel Dubois just down the road as well after his fantastic form and his momentum. Terrific fight. Can't wait for the night. It's really exciting being back here.
And the fact that it's been able to be kept under wraps for the most part anyway, something we didn't see with the 5v5 was supposed to be a surprise, but I think everybody pretty much knew what was going on here. Looking up at the fights on the board, a few surprises. Yeah,
it's so difficult to keep things quiet these days, obviously, with the social media. Everything's 24/7 now. It's not like 10, 15 years ago when we could easily sort of disclose things at the last minute. But yeah, they've done a brilliant job, and I think still people were guessing this morning as to one or two of them. Some fantastic matches, Boazzi and Hutchinson, Chamberlain Padley I like as well, Smith Kelly, I saw Josh a few minutes ago. Tyler Denny, what a week it's been for him, and facing Hamza Shiraz, who's the man of the moment. Just some fantastic stuff. Anto Cacace, again, these guys deserving their opportunities after brilliant performances on the Saudi stage.
We'll get to some of those fights in a minute, but I want to touch on the main event with you, Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois for the World Heavyweight Championship. Another shot that AJ's getting, could be a 3-time world champion come late September. Exciting times for him, but two massive punches in the division. Is it going to be a case of who can end it first and end it early?
Super fight, and they sparred together a few years back, and that was mouthwater and pretty tasty stuff. So let's let them do that in the professional ring. Daniel Dubois has been in electric form, fantastic victory over Filip Hrgović. Seems like he's got a great connection, both mentally and physically, with Don Charles. And I think the same with AJ and Ben Davison. So, they're two teams working very hard at becoming the very best in the business. We know AJ has. He won it twice out in Saudi when he beat Andy Ruiz in the rematch. He's always wanted to become a 3-time heavyweight champion alongside the likes of Lennox Lewis and Muhammad Ali, of course. So I think that it's a great fight, and it will ask us a lot of questions about Joshua's rebirth. We saw him against Otto Wallin, punch perfect, destroying Francis Ngannou. This is a step up in boxing terms in a big way against his old Team GB mate Daniel Dubois. And Dubois, has really proved everybody. Great performance against Jarrell Miller, even better against Hrgović. So yeah, I can't wait for the main event, and it's all an all-British affair at Wembley. It's fantastic.
How much do those slight mental edges, things like sparring, play into a fighter's mindset, do you feel, going into something as huge as this at Wembley?
Do you mean when they sparred before in Team GB? Yeah, they'll know. It was a long time ago. Sparring is different, but they'll know. They'll have tasted each other, and it is important, I think. Daniel was a young kid at the time, but I was really impressed with him then. AJ sparred with them all at Team GB in Sheffield, but all I'll say is that if the spar is, if what they do on September the 21st is even half as good as the spar, we're in for a treat, because I do think those stars are really going to gel. There's a lot of power in that ring. There'll be a lot of power in that ring on the 21st of September.
An impressive undercard, if we can even call it that. Wembley, some real pick 'em fights on there. Which fight is your pick of the best of the bunch?
I don't think it's an undercard. I think every one of them could have been topping a domestic show. I think it's absolutely fantastic to see. Smith Kelly, really interesting fight. Tyler Denny, off the back of his win and his form, in with Hamza Shiraz. Really like the Hutchinson-Boazzi fight. I think that's fantastic. Mark Chamberlain back. I mean, they're all really good. I think Boazzi against Hutchinson for me, just because Hutchinson coming off that win. But again, really interesting seeing Hamza Shiraz again after his performance in Riyadh. Josh Kelly I bumped into a few minutes ago. He's on great form and needs a big win. They've all got this fantastic stage, so they're all going to want to steal it. And for the fans, we've got an absolute barn burner of a bill, haven't we?
I know you've just spoken to Willie Hutchinson there. He really upset the odds against Craig Richards, at least in betting terms. He'll probably have to do that again against Joshua Buatsi, but just looking at his mannerisms there, it seems like confidence is really flying with Willie.
He's an infectious character, isn't he, Willie? It's great to have him around, and it just goes to show that a defeat doesn't mean the end, and he's come back and he's put on a career best performance against Craig Richards, showed his boxing, showcased what I knew he could do in the amateurs. Shelley Finkel told me about Willie Hutchinson a long time ago that he was interested in him, and I was like, why Willie, you know, from our side of the water? And he saw something in him, and so I've been following Willie. Obviously he had that defeat, but he's come back, and you know, he started the whole 5v5. He was the number one out there, so he did really well to box beautifully and get the victory over Craig Richards, and he's got his reward by being on this big stage. So look, he is an underdog, but ride him off at your peril. You know, Joshua Buatsi's got a tough guy in front of him, and he'll know it.
It feels like an awful long time since we've seen Josh Warrington out in a ring, and obviously he's going to be making the step up in weight, at least you would assume so, to super feather. How do you think that will affect his performance, affect the camp and everything going into this for Josh?
I love Josh Warrington, he's brilliant, isn't he? I also love Anto Cacace. What a performance he showed against Joe Cordina. That was his best win, but again, another guy who's sort of kept come through the quiet way, Cacace, and he wouldn't be denied that night. I think that's going to be an absolute tear up, that fight, and I've always been a big fan of Josh Warrington's, and he gets another chance on a grand stage, and he's used to big stages, so that could play a little difference in this fight. But again, Cacace, after that performance, got to be favourite for that one.
We always talk about stories in boxing. Tyler Denny is certainly one of those stories. He was out Saturday night getting a big win, possibly the best of his career, over Felix Cash, and now he's fighting at Wembley against Hamza Shiraz.
Wasn't the big story Eddie Hearn meeting Ben Shalom? I think that was the tale, and now Ben's involved in this, which is fantastic to see. Tyler Denny, great guy. I remember when he was just gently sort of around the area title level, and he's come through, he's grabbed big belts, and he had the win over Cash, and now he goes on to the Wembley setup on the biggest night of his life, and he's a great guy, and this is what Turkey and the team are doing. They're giving our fighters dream opportunities, so long may that continue.
Final thing from me, Tyson Fury on Ferocity on his own channel said the other day that the first fight with Alexander Usyk was easy. Your reflections, and how do you react to that?
I love Tyson Fury, and he'll say what he wants to say. He'll be there for the rematch, and he'll try and exact revenge. I didn't think it was easy. I thought Alexander Usyk won the fight. Maybe deep down he knows that as well. He's not saying that. He's saying that he won it still. I don't know. You never know with Tyson what sort of mood he's in, what he comes out with. But what I do know is he's an unbelievable fighter, and he'll be doing everything he can possibly to try and get that revenge win in December. So Tyson will be back in the gym, and he'll be working really hard for the rematch. I want to try and get him on my new podcast, Josh. I've just started a podcast, The Voice of Boxing. Follow it on Instagram. Come on, join us, and hopefully we'll get Tyson and AJ on the show. That would be cool, won't it?
Any other guests you've got lined up, or you've already had on?
Yeah, we've had a few. We've had Mitchell Smith was great the other week. He's coming back. It's really good to see. We're getting all sorts of different fighters and trainers. We had Don Charles on. Really good. We want to just go through the boxing pack and get some great stuff, cool access from backstage, and bring another sort of slant to boxing. Obviously, I've been around it a long time, and join us, the Voice of Boxing podcast. Follow us on Instagram, see us on YouTube, all in association with Lounges TV. Watch out for Lounges TV, unbelievable streaming platform that's going to get bigger and bigger.
Pleasure as always. Cheers for your time.
Cheers, Josh. Thank you.
Good.